I don't know, man.
You were lost, apparently. You were gone, but now
Starting to the top of Antigua Shipyard, we have a Terran player for Slayers. After Dark was defeated, he stepped into the booth to take down the Protoss player. This is, of course, the one and only
Slayers MMA.
Rocking the orange.
And the reason why the reason why I actually mention Hangun right now is because MMA was able to take down Hangun, one of the Protoss players he faced in Code A. Also successful against Hero, Inori, and Mana. Will he beat the Protoss at the bottom of the map though? Starting in the blue for LGIM is
LGIM Yonghua.
One thing about these starting positions that I find a little bit interesting is that there's an Automaton 2000 in Yonghua's base, but MMA doesn't have one. What determines where an Automaton 2000 spawns?
probably the map maker.
So the map maker, is it actually true that, oh wow, by the way, just forget everything I just said, he's able to see the gas here and MMA shows it to him. He's not going to try to do anything like where you take no gas and then when the probe leaves you double gas to trick him or anything like that. He's actually just going to say, yeah, I'm doing some sort of factory build. What are you going to do about it? Really bold move here by MMA to actually just show the gas like that.
Yeah, Yonghua, of course, knows now about the tech, and having the Protoss player's base now on screen, just a few details about him in the Protoss versus Terran matchup. He was, of course, able to beat Alive when he had the all-kill against Fnatic, but another Terran player that he took down just recently was at the WCG 2012 Korean qualifier, where he had to face Cold, and he won with the 2-1. So also Yonghua with a really good recent history in this matchup, not only MMA.
Yeah, this is very true. I'm thinking about how Yonghua is going to respond here. He's got a lot of different options. He actually rallied his probe to his second gas, so we would like to take his second gas now. He's got a pylon placed in his main base that could hide some tech, but it's also a great position to spot for that new proxy marauder style that's coming out on this map. I'm sure you've seen this where player will proxy the barracks next to the main and then just lift it, make the tech on inside, and start making marauders there. So he checks for that with his pylon as well. Factory goes down, and so far, it looks like Yonghua really wants to tech himself to respond to this. Since he has all the information in the world, he's just using it. And that's a great feeling when you're a pro and you're like, alright, I know you're doing factory play here. There's a possibility you're doing some sort of weird 2-racks, but it's very unlikely.
It's just so annoying as a Protoss player when you don't have any idea what your opponent's doing. If there is someone who just blocks you out completely with the wall at the front, and you have the probe, and you know, okay, I can't get in, I don't know what he's doing. He might just build a command center on the high ground, but maybe I'm up against some kind of tech situation. And because of what he knows, Yonghua is in the know that he can get away with his robotics first now without any problem at all. Will have the scouting information as well, knows exactly what's going on here very, very early. And so far, what MMA does is he builds Hellions. We have the starport, so the Medivac will follow very soon.
Yeah, he's going to try to do that Hellion drop style. And then likely follow up either with a command center or just perhaps a siege tank push. This is actually becoming more popular, and it seems like this map is the map to do it on for most people. There's a very wide ramp in the natural, so you can either drop Hellions into the main base, or you can run them in the natural. You basically try to distract your opponent in one direction, and the other direction send your other Hellions or Marines, for example, so that either way, if your opponent does not defend perfectly at two different locations, he's going to lose some probes. But Yonghua right now is still continuing to one base and just trying to scout.
Run, Forrest, run!
Oh wow, will he actually see? Yeah, he's going to see no Nexus.
Yeah. Runs in and sees the probe. That was so close. The Stalker's heading out and just got a glimpse of the SCV, of the afterburners of the SCV, and then they immediately started chasing, but it was already a little bit too late.
Now, this is kind of an awkward position for MMA. He's going to have to start command center, he does, because now he knows, okay, well, if he only has one base, how effective is my harassment really going to be? I mean, I'm going to try to go in there and do some damage, but all of his units are going to be in one place. Warp gate research is done. He actually chronos those gateways open, and he's going to warp in units now. If he just gets a position to defend this drop, it's not going to be too hard to hold his Nexus and the main base here.
The Marines are heading straight for the natural, and they are already on the way back. He still tries to make this medevac work, but it's really a tricky position that MMA is in right now. He knows about everything that's going on here, and he realizes that he cannot risk it. If he tries to drop and he tries to go for this attack, follow through with his original plan, he might just lose too much and lose his edge on this game.
The worst type of scenario for you when you are a Terran player going for a build like this is that your opponent just takes a late Nexus. By the way, he's faking Cloak here, researching the Caduceus reactor when the Observer comes in. So this means that he's going to think he needs to make extra Observers that he doesn't actually need. Oh, look at this. He's going to pick off that pylon. This will actually supply block Younghwa.
A pretty nice and sneaky move here, using the high ground vision of the Medivac to get access to the pylon and take it down. And of course, with the units that he has, MMA now in a position where he actually is in map control. And look at this sneaky expansion to the right side of his main base.
He loves to hide in command centers.
And it's smart if you think about it, because right now, what is Younghwa going to do? He will use this observer that he has in the main base to scout the natural over and over again. And he does not really know about its expansion. The observer gets taken out. He would have spotted this expansion.
But Calder, there's a probe going around, and it is rallied to that location. The final rally on that probe is the expansion there. He's going to actually walk right next to it. Such a great amount of scouting here for Younghwa. Such a smart player. Hardly anyone would think to do this at this timing of the game, but he's going to go and check for it now. This is so important, and he's getting a robotic support base as well. Now he sees the command center. He even makes a pylon here. This is actually going to have to be canceled most likely.
Atosis is getting the pom-poms out of the closet and is cheering right now. The command center will finish. He can't lift it into the main base, but this was really, really well done.
That's so critical. I feel if he had gotten a little bit luckier with his probe and killed that SCV, then he would have had to lift it for sure. That was, or canceled, excuse me. Now he won't be able to get out with it.
Such an important scout. If he doesn't scout it, this would be the worst case scenario, and there's the lift as the 3 stalkers are being warped in.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to kill it, but he just forces the cancel there. Robotic support bay being done means you can start Colossi, and MMA is, he's actually dropped his Marines in a peculiar way in the middle of the map. He does fix that, but I think that this Colossus attack could be something that's really dangerous for him because he doesn't have Viking started yet. He also doesn't have Medevacs, Combat Shield, Stim. He's got a bunch of weak Marines on the map.
MMA just killed another Observer, so in total he was able to take down 2, and well, right now we have this 3rd command center, but you're right, so far we don't have, of course, any Vikings. So the Colossi are now just being built, the first one not out yet, and he needs range if he wants to pull this off. There's the range upgrade already. Another possibility would, of course, been to go straight for Storm, just try to fake the Colossus a little bit. And another Observer really being careful.
He thought about it too. He was like, do I really want to use another scan on this Observer? He's like, it's fine. He already knows the Marines are here. He just decided not to do it.
And he still tries to make this drop work, but look how careful Younghwa approaches this game. He still has this at the bottom left. And you know, one thing that I really... Okay, let's just wait a second until... Yeah, okay, the drop heads back. What I really, really like, I talked to so many players about this. I mentioned in the past that the positioning of the tech structures on Antigua Shipyard, in particular for a lot of Protoss players, is off. And that's something that so many Terran players have capitalized on by dropping and taking them out. But Younghwa, he builds his robotics bay at his natural, instead of building it in the main base to the left side, where it's so likely that it will be spotted and be taken out. So
exactly. And
great SimCity.
It's not even necessarily about, you just said it there at the end, it's not even necessarily about the killing it, but the seeing it as well. If you go for some sort of Hellion drop, for example, and you see the robotic support bit, then you have the information you need. But if you go for a Hellion drop and he gets deterred, like in this case, he has no idea about the robotic support bit now. He hasn't started Vikings. In fact, he doesn't have any medevacs on the way either. He stopped production of those, so he's going to find himself, if he wants to attack with these Colossi, he's going to be in a tough spot with a very Marine-heavy army that's not that well upgraded with no Viking support.
+1/+1 is now being chrono boosted, and well, both of them roughly at the same supply, very cautious at this point. The Viking count has, of course, started for MMA, so he really has all the counters. And we still have this Banshee at the bottom right, so Stalkers everywhere positioned for Younghwa, because he knows that there will be harassment. But now he pulls the Stalkers off for a second, so this could be the cue for MMA to do a bit of damage.
You can actually see, if he looks, that MMA is destroying his roster attack is 3rd. The Hellion attack is on in the main, but he's got enough Stalkers here.
MMA is just trying to make his macro work now.
He's trying to force Younghwa to open up a hole for him to do damage. He's got the Banshee, he's got his force over here near the 3rd. He's got the Hellion drop ready as well.
The Banshee is still at the bottom right, not moving. The third phase for MMA is now up. He wants, of course, to buy himself some time to get this late game army composition, to get +3/+3. Is already on his way to get the second attack upgrade. And he started the upgrades for Vikings as well. The more DPS he's able to deal in the first few seconds, the better for him. He needs to take down the Colossi of his opponent. And Yonghwa, on the other hand, he's chrono boosting. He is really making those chrono boosts work, and he will catch up in upgrades and also be ahead of MMA.
Oh wait, MMA hotkey to his depots. I think that's really cool. So if there's a run by of any kind, you can just raise those.
We talked about this actually in the past. So
Yeah.
many players don't really do it, and then they are really a little bit strutting as soon as something runs in. And once again, the high ground vision. All these small things that MMA does right now. Hotkeying his depots, making sure that he always has a little bit of high ground vision, take down a pylon like this. The Banshee at the bottom right, poking in with the Medivac and his Hellions. There's just such a huge threat. There's so much pressure on Yonghwa. If he loosens up for a second and doesn't pay attention, he might have a drop in his base, he might have an attack at the third base. It's really, really smart how MMA approaches it. But Yonghwa, on the other hand, he's playing a great game here too.
Yeah, he really is, and I think that, I mean, as the supply increases for MMA, he's going to feel a little bit more confident on the map to do a direct attack like he is now. He now has those upgrades he needed for his Marines. He's got the upgrades coming out for attack now. +2 is about to finish. It's actually going to be ahead in upgrades.
You know what I'm a little bit curious about? So far, Yonghwa not going for Storm. We have him on a 3-base economy, but he's not getting additional attack. He's just relying on the composition that he has, whereas Ghosts are also being built now for MMA. He has the Mervus reactor, and we will have Ghosts very soon. No Storms. He's only relying on the Colossi when it comes down to the area of effect damage.
Yeah, he doesn't even have a Temple Archive as far as I can tell. There it is, just now being started. So this is just something that's very stylistic about Yonghwa, and actually even back in the old seasons of Team League, he was very Colossus heavy, not really one to go for those Templar. At least not early on. And he's going to deter these drops yet again. The Banshee from earlier finally comes in to start getting some kills, and has already gotten 7, 8 now in total, and will get away, not even taking too many shots.
A really smart play. I really love how MMA does this. But Yonghwa has a very strong army. He's on 200 supply, and him not going straight for Storm also opens up minerals and gas to get those upgrades. And here comes the drop finally, and this double drop is doing damage, and at the worst time possible, as Yonghwa is currently moving out. The warp ins for Yonghwa are actually not good enough to take down MMA's drop.
Yeah, he's doing so much damage here, and it will continue. These units just do too much. It's actually warping into the fire, so they're just dying here. And
Way
Yonghwa's
too much
now,
is dying.
Yeah, now he's just kind of awkwardly in the middle of the map, but not really sure if he wants to attack. Now he's moving in. Charge is about to finish, but it's not quite done, so his Zealots don't connect.
He stims and runs away. We don't have any Ghosts in the composition just yet. He's ready to build them if needed, but for now he relies on Vikings and Marine Marauder. +3 has been started. Yonghwa, of course, the one who's ahead in upgrades, but 27 Harvesters killed by MMA. A really great job. And the Banshee is once again working at the probes at the natural.
Yeah. He started to attack the Stalker for a second here before more probes were killed, and he actually will kill the Stalker.
Yeah, yes, +1.
And now we can continue to kill the probes here. You're so right.
And he kills probe after
This
probe.
is scary, Keldor. This is a scary Protoss army here. MMA is actually pulling the SCVs down. He knows he needs them in this fight. He's getting the first shots off, and that is exactly what he needed to push this Protoss army back. As Stim runs out, he will have to stim again. Yonghwa turns around. The Zealots run in, but the SCVs are being a great buffer here.
MMA doing so much damage, trying to take down the Colossus immediately. The first one dies, another one being targeted right now. Both of them dropping in supply. Will MMA be able to make this work?
This
It's
is
around
so
30. This is really
insane.
close.
More Stalkers coming in here. Looks like the healing power of the Medivacs may not be enough. The Vikings are dead weight right now. Now they're starting to land, but it may be a little bit too late. The more Zealots are running in here.
+3, nearly done for Yonghwa. He's moving in. A lot of units being built for MMA right now. He has the better economy. Well, he had until a few seconds ago when he used all those SCVs to buffer. Right now, we have 50 against 57 Harvesters. But still, this Banshee, is there still a Banshee down at the bottom? I think he's still trying to do some damage. He has the drop, actually, in the main base of his opponent. 35 workers killed against 25 in favor of MMA. And Yonghwa is now getting stormed.
He is getting Storm. A big concern for him, though, is that he has not started a 4th Nexus yet. And if he wants to, where is he going to actually make that? Will he take the center base?
Hurricanes right now.
Oh, he's got to be so careful. Even though he's got a strong army right now, and he's got the upgrade advantage for a little bit longer, should he actually fight against MMA's army? That's what he's trying to decide right now.
+2 armor is nearly done for MMA right now. He's so far behind the upgrades. It's really horrible for him.
It's taking a toll, but a great position for his army right now. The problem is his SCVs are actually being taken out at the 3rd base as well. Great blink fighter here in the Arc House. Going to do so much splash in that choke
He's back into a corner. He is back into a corner, and LG Yonghwa is moving in. There's a wall in the wall off at the 3rd base too, and MMA is dropping down in supply. Yonghwa has him on the ropes.
Yeah, and I think there's nothing he can do. He's down to 55 supply. Hits another EMP, but there's no units to actually kill those naked stalkers. GG! MMA loses his match here. A big gamble for Slayers to actually put him out here, and he failed. He was not able to take the win, and now Yonghwa again still looking so solid in Team League.
Yonghwa is once again doing his thing, takes down another player, and now we have the situation that we talked about earlier. MMA, one of the biggest names on the Slayers bench, is out.
Yep. And there was a different smile on the face of the IM coach. That was definitely a different expression there.
That was so close though. He was really pressured at his natural and his main base. This double drop of MMA did so much damage, but Yonghwa decided that he had the power to attack. He had the choice of moving back or just attacking, and when he realized that he lost so much of his economy, he said, okay, you have a double drop in my main base, you have only a few units to defend, I will go in, I have to do damage right now. MMA even pulling the SCVs at the meat, but it was not enough.
Yeah, and you know, that fight actually gave me chills. It was so close. Like, 1 or 2 Marauders different could have actually made it so that MMA won that fight. Maybe landing his Vikings a little bit faster as well may have actually won him that fight. That was so close. When you have only Stalkers versus a medevac based army with Marines and Marauders against your Stalkers, the healing output is just so high. The Stalkers can't do damage quickly enough. There's just a razor-thin line where eventually the medevac army actually overpowers your Stalkers. So we had to get those warped in Zealots, and it was so close.
And he could have built a few more Vikings. I think he had, how many Colossi did we have? I think it was 4?
3 or 4.
3 or 4, and he had 5 to 6 Vikings in the end. So with a few more Vikings, he's able to take down the Colossi much faster. Then he has, of course, not to deal with this much pressure anymore. So
Yonghwa,
very close.
Yeah, Yonghwa knew he needed to win that fight too. He was in a desperate situation after the economic damage. Who is coming out next? Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Yu-Gi-Oh? They want to send someone out like that? No.
Was it Mia?
That's Mia, I
couldn't
believe.
see it.
I couldn't quite see his face, but yeah, I'm pretty sure. But I can tell by the glasses. Mia's got those.
It's time for Gollum.
Yeah, and Yonghwa already has defeated a Zerg player. See if he can do it again. But what a game we just saw. I'm actually still impressed by the decisions that Yonghwa made. MMA's multitasking was insane though. His biggest problem were the upgrades. Mia, he's here though, currently 0-3 in GSTL. He's only played 3 times. And his counter success rate is also 0%.
It's tough time now for Slayers.
Certainly so. They really need a win, and they've gambled so much, actually.
They have a lot of players sitting on this bench, but a lot of them are actually younger players without a lot of experience.
Yeah. Yonghwa is just unstoppable right now, man. It's like he's a snowball running down the hill. He's just going to get bigger and bigger until he can't be stopped.
And guys, before we head into the next game, we're having a 5-minute break, so see you in a few here at the GSTL Slayers versus LGIM.